Welcome to our home study course. We're going to do a little bit with the bow. I've got today Alexander and Lucas joining me with us. I've got a little bit of experience going for us. We're going to start with some basic exercises. So the basic exercises, it's there to kind of get you re-familiar with the weight, and it's kind of like doing, like we were talking about with Alexander today when he starts his music, like playing your scale. Just going through the preliminary steps before you go in your form to make sure all your lines are clean. Okay, so we started with our 4-point. When we do the 4-point, we want to make sure that the arm is nice and straight, the bow is nice and straight, and I'm reaching under. We want to emphasize the fact that the extension of the bow, the long end, is forward. If you look behind it, there's only a little bit sticking out the back. And that's what we want. So when I switch my ends, I'm pulling it down on the outside of my arm, and the bow is nice and straight, remembering to extend the forward arm as much as I can. Okay, so I'm switching, and you see the bow is forward. I'm switching, the bow is back. So I'm going just an upstroke and a downstroke, an upstroke and a downstroke, and we start building a little bit of speed. So I'm going to have the boys do that with me. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, very important is to add the third point of contact. So I've got a hand-to-hand, and somewhere on my body, I need to be locking it in nice and tight. That's right here on the outside of my shoulder. You can see it. A lot of folks, when they do it, you see them in class, they hit their arms, hit their shoulders. That's not what we're looking for. That just hurts. We want to be able to anchor that in and deliver it with the power element. Turn to face the front, guys. Let's go ahead and go across. So in this one, I'm bringing the lead arm across my body and pushing out with the other arm. So it's just a side movement, and again, extending the bow as far forward. It's not going to feel like a real strong hold here, because what I'm actually doing is getting the web area, or the tiger's mouth in some styles, to push behind it. If you just do it with your hand on the bottom, you'll bounce right off. So I get behind it, and then I come back the same way. So what we're working up to is our 4-point. We go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go 1, 2, 3. When we get to 3, make sure that third point of contact is again not up here, because when you get swinging harder, it's going to smack you in the head. You want it to land on the shoulder. 3 and 4. Here's the point of contact here. Point of contact on 1, point of contact on 2, point of contact on 3, point of contact on 4. So now that we have all 4, what we want to envision is a little, like maybe a coin floating in the air that we're trying to aim for every time on this side and every time on this side. So I hit that coin, hit that coin, hit that coin, and I'm coming across. So we hit 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't swing too much with your body, because you go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's where everybody goes wrong. We can watch the lines break down real fast. Okay, so we're going to go a little faster now that everybody knows it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do as many sets as you can so that you get the right feeling for it, and it actually starts conditioning a little bit too. Conditioning both the body and how it's received, and conditioning the weight in your arm. And that's what we're really going for. Now we're going to start the next exercise. We were doing that just a little bit earlier. And on my training bow, I've marked my center of gravity. That's a little bit easier for the audience to see. So look for my little blue line. So when I start this one, I'm starting, if you hold it like a flagstaff, the blue is about half of my hand. So this is what I'm looking for. So I start thumb side down, and my left hand will lay over my right. So I'm just making an X, and I'm receiving it this way. And you look at it, see I'm inside that center, and then come down. So what I'm doing is, I'm just transferring it from one hand to the other hand. You got it, guys?
Sure.
One hand to the other hand. Now, we can also do that instead of just a vertical line, we can also do that overhead. So in this case, we just extend it down a little bit. And what we're looking for is a nice, clean, straight line overhead. And switch it over. So we get used to this too. Same motion. So if you were planning this in the format, you say, okay, I'll do several like this. And here. And then one like this. Here. Bring it back. Vertical. Vertical. Horizontal. Horizontal. Okay, so that's as basic as you can get. We would want to incorporate a few sweep lines because now if we're doing nice crisp straight lines, we also want to get our sweeps so it changes the height and angle of what we're doing. So whereas I use the 4-point before, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go back to this flagstaff position, sweep it all the way across. Notice it looks like it's vertical right now, before I switch that over my head. So we're doing a halo in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting it?
Sure.
Sweep, and then over the head. And see, on the sweep, I can turn my body in this a little bit, so I get used to this motion. So bring it flagstaff. Let's isolate just that for a second. Sweep, turn. Sweep, turn. What you want to envision is when I get to here, like hitting an ankle or a foot and trying to lift it up high to take them off balance just before doing the side smash. So it's vertical, sweep, and strike. Vertical, sweep, and strike. Now back to adding the 4-point. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it vertical, sweep, and strike. So a little faster. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweep and strike. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweep and strike. Now, as you get a little bit better with your expression of the sweep, we really try to get a more looping motion. So it feels like, like you're oaring a boat. It's like a downward or upward figure 8 kind of motion in it. But while you start, we want to really focus on getting it up high before you rotate it over. So it's just different ways of expressing it. We're going to hit the same spot. Okay, so now we're going to try one that's a little bit harder. These guys are ready for it. We're going to do the continuous double hand spin on this one. Okay, so it takes elements that we've already learned. Like we've got this, and we've been feeding it through. Okay, now we need to do this one in steps for anybody that's a beginner. I know in class it takes a lot of repetitions. So we're here. I start the same way as I did before. My strong hand is feeding to my left hand that's inside of it, stacked on top. And then as it changes over, I don't grab the first end of the bow. I grab the second end of the bow. Now, as I go into this, I let go. I don't grab the first end of the bow. My hand stays here, but I turn it over to receive. All right, it's harder to do slow. Okay, and then the idea is to be able to get this continuous spin. Okay, so I'll have them just do it for 10 seconds fast, and then we'll break it back down again. So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Pay attention, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So as you're doing it. Now, as I'm breaking it down again, break it down into 3 steps. This is 1. Don't grab. This is 2. Don't grab. This is 3. And this is the most awkward part of it. But when we start going a little bit faster in the reverse, it looks like it's picking up speed there because I'm holding on to the bow a little bit longer. Okay, now the same things can apply to releases and things later. Start with that as your basic basics until you can do it fast and regularly, and do the warm-up for, about 20 minutes before you start going into your form. We're going to come back in just a few minutes with our form.